Hey guys, it's Girl Got Game, and welcome back to Always Remember Me. And this time, we are going to go through Hugh's route. Now, I don't really know much about Hugh, because, I think we've had all of, one scene with him so far, so I really have no idea what he's like, or what to expect from his route, but it should be interesting for sure. Anyway, we're going to go through our quick introduction, as we always do. But this time, very quickly. Gwenda helped us. Get some more morale back, and our energy. She baked us a cake. Got some rest, dearie. Need some cake later. Okay, good night, Gwenda. So I took Nina to my room, and I decided to write a poem about Aaron. But I'm not going to read it because we're not doing Aaron's route. We're going to read Hugh's poem when we get to it. And his should be the easiest to get because creativity is his stat, and I need high creativity to get his poem. So that should be pretty easy. Anyway, let's start actually reading what's going on, shall we? When I woke that morning, I knew that I had to go to the ice cream parlor. It was Sunday, and I had a long shift to attend to. I considered calling out, knowing that they would understand if I explained the situation, but decided that it would be best to go in anyway. Otherwise, everyone would start to worry about me. I had no doubt that news of the accident was already traveling quickly. Gossip seemed to get around in town eerily fast. Lawrence! I got ready and arrived at the shop 15 minutes before the start of my shift. I hadn't wanted to dwell at home, though as soon as I walked in I knew I was too early. It was still early morning, and there were only a few customers around. I was surprised to catch sight of a familiar face seated at one of the tables, apparently taking a break from work.
Hey, Amy. Are you all right?
I couldn't help but notice a genuine worry on his expression when he saw the bruises on my arms and legs. I appreciated his concern. Good morning, Lawrence. I'm doing okay.
Are you sure? Those bruises look really painful.
Yes, I'm sure. They really aren't as bad as they look.
Really? I don't know if I could work with bruises that big. You're a strong woman.
I can hardly feel them. Thanks, though.
How did it happen? You aren't in any trouble, are you?
I'll tell ya. I can't keep it from you. Well, I got in a car accident.
What? When was that? How did it happen?
I felt a little bad for worrying him, but the tenderness in his eyes made me feel slightly better. It was nice to know that there were people who cared. I decided to explain to him what had happened, since there was little secret to it. I was on a motorcycle with Aaron. He protected me when we got into the crash. That's why I'm not very badly hurt. It wasn't his fault. They think the other driver was drunk.
That's terrible. How's Aaron? I haven't heard anything about him recently.
Actually, Aaron suffered a head injury. He has amnesia now.
I'm sorry to hear that. How bad is it? Will he recover?
They think he will. Luckily, it isn't too extensive. But he doesn't remember me anymore. Lawrence's eyes widened slightly when I revealed the cost of Aaron's protection.
Amy.
It's not so bad, though. Thanks for worrying about me, Lawrence. Aw, Lawrence. It's really nice to see people who still care, but I've got to go start my shift. I'll talk to you more later.
See you later.
So during the summer, Amy works at this ice cream parlor, but only gets paid with tips, which kinda sucks. And today I probably won't do very good because my morale and energy are low. So I failed. I'm not in the right mood. Now my shift's over. I can talk to Lawrence here, but I still feel weak. It'll be better if I get back home now. I don't think they would allow me to see Aaron yet anyway. So home I go. When I got home after work, I found the house empty except for my cat, Nina. Hey, Nina. Nina and I went up to my room and I turned the computer on to check my email, mostly to see if there was any news from Aaron's family or the hospital. I knew it was rather unlikely to have more correspondence from them so soon, but Couldn't help but hold on to the hope there would be something new. I sat down at my desk and looked around my inbox, scanning the titles and senders of the new and unread messages. I frowned when I saw there was nothing new from Eddie or anyone else from the hospital crew. Nothing good. Too bad. I decided to do some research on amnesia. Amnesia is a very complicated condition. I got confused by it, so soon I was distracted from my reading when a small notification box saying I had a new email popped up. From my secret admirer. I clicked it a bit absent-mindedly since the address was unknown. Maybe I shouldn't open it. It could be a virus or spam. Nina hopped up onto the desk and meowed rather loudly. Meow. Well, I suppose it wouldn't hurt to see what it is. Right, Nina? I opened the email, eyeing the unknown address warily. The message was simple and written in plain black text. I guess I'll read it in the actual voice.
Hey there, Amy. I hear you're quite the poet. I'd love to read more of your work, but you don't really share it with anyone, do you? I'm a big fan and your secret admirer, as the saying goes. Keep writing, girl.
I'm just gonna ignore that, because I don't want to get involved. I shook my head slightly and clicked back to the inbox, deciding to ignore the unusual message. I was about to check my book review blog when the computer shut down. I tried to restart it several times, but nothing happened. My computer just had to break at a time like this. For a moment, I thought it might have been a virus from that mysterious email, but then realized that was silly. The computer wouldn't even turn on, so the failure was clearly in the hardware. Nina, still sitting on my desk, gave me a puzzled look. Great. Now I won't be able to check my email or blog from home anymore. Oh, my morale's so low. Stupid computer broke. I gotta go to sleep, though. Okay, so here's Hugh. We haven't seen him yet, so we gotta go find him. Yay, ice cream dream. Helps so much. Alright, to the ice cream shop for work. Oh. I could do much better. I want to go to the hospital today. I want to see Aaron. I miss him. I went to the hospital to go visit Aaron, but as soon as I entered his room, I had the feeling the visit wasn't going to go very well. Good morning, Aaron.
Hi.
How are you feeling today?
A little better, thanks.
He smiled at me politely, but without any of the tenderness I was used to seeing. An awkward silence settled in as I sat down at the chair beside his bed. Lacking any other ideas to really get the conversation going, I decided to start with something simple. I didn't want to pressure him with anything that the medics wouldn't approve of me discussing with them. How's the hospital food around here? Is it okay?
It's pretty good. Definitely better than I can cook.
I'm glad you like it, but I'm sure you're not that bad of a cook.
You've never had my cooking, then?
I went to say that I had, but quickly restrained. He wasn't a very good cook, but it made it more fun when he came to the ice cream parlor or when I cooked for him.
By the way, I was wondering.
Yes?
Who are you?
The question was so simple, so polite, so impersonal, but it still broke my heart. Okay, I don't want to pick this option again because that just ended so badly last time. I'm just going to go the safe route. His words hurt, and I was certain my eyes betrayed a degree of sadness. I covered it up with a smile, hoping he didn't notice the momentary change. Oh, I'm a friend of yours. My name is Amy.
Okay. I'm sorry, it's just that my memory is really hazy.
It's okay, I understand. Don't strain yourself. He returned my smile with a nod.
You're a very nice girl, Amy.
Thank you.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm getting tired. I better get some sleep.
Sure, I'll come visit you again soon. You're on your own now. Yay, explore all these locations. Will you manage to reunite with Aaron, or will you fall in love with someone else? It's up to you. Well, I can't visit Hugh yet because he hasn't come to see us, so Instead, I'll go to my favorite place in the world, the library. So, I think I shall practice my writing.
Wasn't expecting this.
Well, that sucked. Okay, guess I'm gonna just go home. No stat changes yet.
Yes!
At least I slept well-ish. Thanks to Nina. Oh, I was getting ready to leave for the ice cream shop when the phone rang. Hello?
Miss Fitch?
Oh, yes, I'm Amarantha. You are Eddie?
Yes, I need to talk with you about Aaron.
Is everything all right?
Yes, don't worry, everything is okay. I heard you paid him a visit yesterday, and I'd like to talk to you about some things.
Talk you. We agreed to meet in his office in the afternoon, after my shift at the ice cream shop ended. I need to hurry. That shift starts soon. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Oh, finally succeeding. I did an awesome job today. I quickly change clothes and I get ready to go to the hospital to talk with Eddie. I wonder what he wants to talk about. ... To the hospital. As soon as I entered the hospital, I met with Eddie. He nodded at me and made a gesture to follow him into his office. Whew, I vaguely registered the sound of our footsteps tapping their way through the corridor. Eddie led me to his office, and I distantly noticed his occasional glances, but was too absorbed in my own frantic thoughts to care. We stepped through the door, and he quietly closed it behind me.
Please have a seat.
I sunk into a cushioned chair in front of the desk and watched him hopefully. Tell me how he can get better.
Well, you have to understand that this condition is somewhat difficult to treat. We'll of course be encouraging his memory to return by talking to his family and friends, putting him in situations of previous memories, things like that. The therapist can tell you more about exactly what they'll be doing. There's also the possibility of prescribing him certain medicines, but we only keep that option open for extreme cases.
I nodded, hanging on to his every word.
The key is that he regains his memory slowly and carefully. This sort of psychology is not my specialty, but we have to be careful of any psychological stress. Amnesia is tricky to begin with. We can't risk any more complications by trying to force him to remember.
My heart sank. So what you're saying is, he won't be remembering me anytime soon. He looked at me kindly.
Probably not, but there is a way you can help.
How? Tell me, I'll do anything.
Well, you know him very well. It would be a great help if you could think of situations that might help him regain some memories, situations from his past. Places he's been, activities he likes, things like that.
I nodded my head slowly, trying to reconcile myself to all the unbelievable things that had happened recently. I did this last time, but it didn't seem very realistic for Amy, so I think I'll cry. But the truth was difficult to accept, and as full, awful realization sank in, my tired mind and body could bear it no longer. Tears formed unwittingly at the corners of my eyes, and they dripped down my face in rivulets. My shoulders began to shake, and I covered my face with my hands, trying desperately to muffle the sounds of lamentation. Eddie hovered awkwardly, uncomfortable, and at a near total loss of what to do. Sorry, Eddie. Pulling himself together, he walked forward and knelt on the ground in front of me and rested his hands on my shoulders.
Miss Amarantha.
Call me Amy.
Amy, it'll be all right. It's not that bad.
Do you really think so?
I know so. It's very encouraging that he didn't lose his entire memory, only that of the last few years. And even if it doesn't come back, you can always make new memories.
I nodded at his words and smiled, wiping away tears. Thank you, Eddie.
Now excuse me, Miss Amy, but I have to go.
Not a problem, Doc. Okay, let's try writing today.
This must be an office.
Oh, no, I'm only thinking up and all endings. No good. I'm really sucking this time around. Good grief. I gotta get better at this. Maybe I need Hugh.
That was easy.
If I meet Hugh, everything will turn out all right. The next morning, I decided to follow Eddie's suggestions. I grabbed a book from my library, the first book of the Pendragon series by D.J. McHale. Aaron loved it. I'm going to bring this with me at the hospital next time. Okay. Well, first, ice cream. Oh. I had just started my shift when I heard a familiar voice.
Amy?
I looked up from the change in the cash register that I was counting to meet his gaze. Yes?
I wanted to talk to you about what happened.
Yes? Lawrence looked away, unable to continue looking me in the eye. He was always rather shy, and he often resorted to text messages since he was more comfortable with it.
You know, I'll always be here. If you ever need someone to talk to, I'd be glad to listen. After all, we're friends, right?
Right. Thank you, Lawrence. I appreciate that. Aww. Woohoo! I worked hard this time. I quickly changed clothes, eager to give the book to Aaron to see if he remembers it. When I arrived at the hospital, I was surprised when the receptionist said there was already someone visiting Aaron. At first, I was glad to hear that, since it probably meant one of his friends had come to drop in for a visit. Even if it was just one of his friends from school, talking to people he used to know would probably help him with his memory. However, when I entered the room, what I found was anything but pleasant. I stopped in the doorway and stared for a moment, my eyes widening as my heart went cold. No clear thoughts passed through my mind, and I couldn't seem to bring myself to take even one step closer. Abigail, Aaron's ex-girlfriend, was seated beside him. She wore a smile that was so obviously fake it almost made me sick to see it. I knew all too well why they broke up, quite a while before we got together. She was a manipulative girl who never really loved him. The idea that the lapse in his memory would make him think that she was his real girlfriend. Oh, Amy. Good morning. Who are you? I didn't reply, simply staring as the reality of the situation sank in. Abigail knew perfectly well who I was, she was just acting. She's a friend of mine. She came here to visit me yesterday. Oh, I see. Don't you know who I am, Abigail? Well, I don't think I'd remember someone as ordinary looking as you. I'm going to take the high road this time, because otherwise the next conversation doesn't make as much sense. I see. Well, anyway, I brought a book for you, Aaron. Oh, really? Yeah, it was one of your favorites. It's the first book of the Pendragon series by D.J. McHale. That sounds really familiar. Isn't that a children's book? I pulled the softcover book out of my purse as I walked over to sit down in the chair on the other side of his bed. Technically, it's young adult, Missy. Oh, was the main character's name Bobby? I smiled as I handed him the book, and a look of recognition came over his face. That's right. We would always pre-order the new books as they came out of the bookstore. They were such fun to read. I remember this. I got into it a long time ago. I was so young, but they were too fun to read to grow out of. Right. Well, I think I heard of it once, too. Thanks for bringing this, Amy. I really like this book. You can keep it if you want. Yay. Really? Are you sure? Yeah. If you like, I could read it to you if you don't feel well enough. How about I read it to him? There are quite a few books in this series. How about you each read me one? Aaron smiled cheerfully as he asked the question, and even though Abigail frowned at me for a moment before faking another smile for Aaron, I couldn't help but feel somewhat satisfied with myself. It was a small step, but at least he remembered something that didn't involve Abigail. I don't know what her intentions are, but Abigail is unlikely to get up early in the morning, so I'll only find her in the hospital visiting Aaron in the afternoon or evening. Unfortunately, I work every morning until noon, so I won't have as many occasions to see him alone. But that's okay, because we don't need to see Aaron.
Who's awesome?
Oh, finally, some success. And some creativity. Hooray! Come on, Hugh. Show up. Before I get together with another guy just to spite you. Oh, maybe this is the day. Today I was seated morosely at the counter of the ice cream shop, my co-worker Lawrence trying to cheer me up. I nibbled meditatively at my chocolate ice cream cone, trying not to feel like my entire life had changed without my control or consent. Soon there came a tinkling from the door, signifying that somebody else had entered. I didn't look up, but from the annoyed look on Lawrence's face, I knew it was Hugh, finally. There he is! Hey! Hugh is an immature boy that often hangs around some of my friends. He's always around me, but I'm not really sure what he wants from me. Amy, babe, what's cooking besides you?
Hugh, stop. Now's not the time.
Hugh looked from Lawrence to me and did a double take. Whoa, you don't look so good. What's wrong? Your dog died? I didn't reply, and Lawrence gave him another dangerous sort of look. Hugh seemed to deflate a little. No, seriously, what's wrong? I'll tell you. I gave him a baleful look, and on a whim proceeded to recount the entire story. The date, the horrible way it had ended in a car crash, and of Aaron's amnesia. By the time I was done, I was nearly in tears again. Saying the whole thing out loud made it seem even more awfully true than it already was. Hugh stood there, mouth hanging wide open. It took a while for him to think of something to say, and when he finally did, it was with a very serious, somber expression. Amy Sweets, are you okay? I considered the question. He'd said it with so much concern that I felt quite touched. I gave him a small smile. Yay. Not exactly, but I'll be fine, I think. Thanks.
Awesome!
Woohoo!
Yay!
And then I succeeded in my ice cream work. Can I visit him at the mall now? Ah, the mall. It's so big and just packed with tons of shops. My favorite is the bookstore, of course. Hugh's clothing shop is here if I want to pay him a visit. It's open every day from Monday to Saturday. Okay, so he doesn't work on Sundays. There's also a nice restaurant if I want to get a snack or a meal. Lastly, on Saturday and Sunday, I can attend some art courses. Painting and clay are my favorites. They're a bit expensive, but they can really boost my stats. They start in the evening. Visit Hugh's shop for the first time ever. Oh, I like this picture. Nice.
Awesome!
Hugh always likes to joke. A bit too much, I'd say. Could be worse, though. He did wonders for my morale, I'll give him that. Okay, let's, should I borrow some books? Yeah, practice
Bring
writing.
it on!
You can make a video game based on this. Give me some culture, which I don't need.
Yay!
More culture, which I don't need. And now the day is over. Alright, we'll have to try that again. But anyway, finally got Hugh to show up, and now we have to go visit him some more. Be interested to see where things go from here.